Hi, I'm Harry Rock, and welcome to another edition of the Westfield Council on Aging Presents. This is a special collaborative effort with Tina Gorman, Executive Director of the Westfield Senior Center, and Pete Coles, producer of WCPC Westfield Cable Channel 15. Our topic today is the SHINE program and the fall open enrollment period for Medicare. My guest is Lorraine York Edberg, who is the SHINE Regional Program Director. Hey, Lorraine, welcome to the show. We're thrilled to have you.
Thank you, and thank you so much for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here.
And as I understand, you're Zooming in because of a lot of pre-commitments. We couldn't get you here in person, but the Zoom program works just fine. But you're actually housed right now. Your office is in Greenfield. Do I have that right?
It is, and right now I'm Zooming from my own home.
Well, it does work well. So I thought, as we start to talk about the fall open enrollment period, what really helps is to really give our viewership here a understanding of what we're talking about. And I thought we'd just start with Medicare. What exactly is it? Why do you need it? And what age does it really impact your life?
Sure. So Medicare is the insurance program for all persons that are 65 and older, and you're eligible for Medicare when you work at least 40 quarters in the Social Security system. So that's about 10 years of work history.
Oh, really?
Or if you're
Okay.
disabled. If you're disabled and under 65, you can get Medicare 2 years after a disability that's been approved by Social Security.
So I did not realize that there's a time commitment requirement for it. 10 years, you said, you have to have worked.
10 years in the Social Security system. So if you were, say, working for a state program, then that might not give you Social Security credits. So it's got to be 10 complete years in the Social Security system at a regular job where they take out Social Security.
Yeah.
And some places, are state and they do take out Social Security. So you always have to check with HR,
Okay.
Human Resources.
And the time that it kicks in is age 65.
Exactly. So Medicare is really the cornerstone of insurance for people when they turn 65, but it's not complete coverage. There's different parts of it. There's Part A, which is really the hospital coverage, and
Mm-hmm.
that's free as long as you've worked the 10 years. And then there's Part B, which is the outpatient services, anything outside of a hospital, inpatient or nursing home inpatient. So things like physical therapy, doctor's appointments, x-rays, blood work, that's all comes under Part B of Medicare. And this year, Part B cost $170.10. So when you get Medicare and you pay for Medicare Part B, that's the cost of that. And that's a monthly premium.
Hmm. So for people who have not worked 10 years, can they pay into Medicare to get it, or they're just it's not available to them at all?
They can pay for Part B and they can pay for Part A if they want to. It might be very fairly expensive. You also could be eligible through a spouse. So say you didn't work in the Social Security system, and this was pretty common years ago, that there may
Right.
be, homemakers maybe never really worked that much. They could be eligible through their spouse's work history, as long as they were married
Hmm.
or married and divorced, but married for at least 10 years.
Okay. Okay. So that 10-year period still comes in.
Yeah, it's sort of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what does SHINE stand for? You are the SHINE Regional Program Director. What's that an acronym mean?
So that's serving health insurance needs of everyone. And really, it should be everyone with Medicare, because really we're a Medicare based program. In other states, they're called the SHIP program with a P, the state health insurance programs. And we're a federal program. We get our funding from the federal government. And the agency I work with is called LifePath. That's where my office is. We are an aging service access point. It's a nonprofit community program, very exactly like our sister agency, Highland Valley, and a lot of the viewers will recognize that Highland Valley because they're our sister ASAP out of the Northampton area, and they cover Westfield, Southwick, and all of Hampshire County.
Hmm. Oh, that's interesting. Um, and I was on your website last night, kind of prepping for this show, and I did look up the Shine program and saw that the title as you mentioned it. But I was also surprised to see that there's a number of volunteer options for people who want to help and be a part of this, as far as helping other seniors really navigate the complexities of open enrollment and getting the insurance lined up for themselves.
Yeah, we have a great volunteer opportunity program for somebody who, is really interested in making a difference in the lives of others. It is comprehensive, and it's a 60-hour program. I do the volunteer training every year in the spring. So usually from April to June, we are training, Zoom training for 2 days a week, pretty, 5 hours with a little bit of a break in between. So it really is a big commitment. I'm always looking for a 2-year commitment because it's a lot to learn.
Hmm.
And, they have to take an exam. Then they have to take a recertification because, as you know, the information changes frequently. There are new laws and regulations, and you know, really, Shine counselors need to keep apprised of every change that has to do with Medicare and services that might help them with insurance and public benefit programs.
Hmm.
So, and we do have a new counselor at the Westfield Council on Aging, and her name is Lynn Hills, and she's absolutely wonderful. And she works at the Westfield Council on Aging 5 days a week and is available to meet with seniors to do the Shine program and other programs at the senior center.
So people, if they were interested in our viewing area, if they were interested in volunteering, they can just go to the Westfield Senior Center and talk with Lynn and potentially get involved.
Well, they could talk to her about different issues. If they were interested in becoming a volunteer, they should reach out to me at LifePath.
Okay, got it. But anything to do with Shine and open enrollment and Medicare, they can go to Lynn and she can help. Got it. Okay, perfect.
Exactly.
So let's talk about the fall open enrollment period. When is it? How long is it open? And what do people have to do to take advantage of that?
Sure. So, most of our seniors and disabled persons have Medicare. And when you have Medicare, the way you get your prescription drug coverage is through either a Medicare Advantage plan, like an HMO or a PPO that has drug coverage, or through a standalone drug plan. And so these plans have the opportunity to make a change every year. So they can increase their premiums, they can change their drug lists, they can change restrictions that are on specific medications like prior authorization, quantity limits, and something called step therapy, which is where an insurance plan would require the doctor to send a letter saying that they've tried this drug and this drug and this drug so they can take the drug that the doctor wants them to take. So these restrictions and these changes that happen are things that people really want to be aware of. So every September, they get a letter from their plan. It's called an annual notice of change letter. And that letter tells them about the premium increases, the copay increases, the drug list, the formularies, and those restrictions that I was talking about. And these plans that are standalone plans range anywhere from $7.40 this year to over $130 a month. So
Wow.
it's really, yeah, it's really important to look at this annual notice of change letter. And I think if one thing was the most important thing for the viewers to really think about is, that mail that you're getting from your insurance company in the recent past, like September, October, they'll be getting it, then they should really look at that to see if the plan still meets their needs. And that's really what it's all about, because the plans have to cover two drugs in every category of issues, like, how there are different medications that people take for um, high cholesterol. There's a
Mm.
lot of different ones out there. Well, each plan has to cover at least two, but it doesn't mean they're going to cover them all. So we use the Medicare Plan Finder, which is a tool on the Medicare.gov website, to input the information about the medications that they take specifically. And that helps us to find the best plans that meet the client's Medicare beneficiaries' needs as far as the drugs they take and the lowest cost.
So, excuse me. So, for people who take a lot of medications, does this one plan take care of that? You're mentioning two types of drugs in each category, but there may be people that are taking far more than that. What do they do? Do, do
Yeah, so what we do is assist the Medicare beneficiary to put the information into the system. And it can take as many drugs as the person takes. So you can put them all in there. What I was really saying is that there's two drugs in every category, which means all the drug plans have to cover at least some of the medications that people want, but they might have better deals with um, a combination of whatever drugs they take at a certain manufacturing, I'm sorry, at a certain insurance company. So
okay.
there, yeah, so there's all these insurance companies and they sell all the medications and there's a premium for each plan.
Mm.
So I'm not sure if that covers.
Yeah, and I know that I'm 70 now, and my wife and I signed up for Medicare 5 years ago when we both turned 65, and I remember, she was really adamant about Plan D, making sure that we picked up the medication program, um, and there's, yeah, I think people need to really be aware of why they should pick that up, because I guess it was my sense that people don't end up picking it up, but then need, because they say, well, I don't need it right now. And then they figure that they're going to need it later. And then when that time comes, what happens? Are they able to?
This is such a good question, Harry. So when people have when they turn 65 or they move from their employer coverage directly to Medicare, then they want to pick up Part D because there's a penalty if you don't get it when you lose your creditable coverage. The penalty's not a lot. It's 33 cents for every month that passes that you could have had it, but you did not have it. So, for a period of a year, say that would be 12 months, 12 times three, about $3.75 maybe. And that would be added to your monthly premium. So every month that goes by, if you didn't have it, you could be penalized if you get
Mm,
a plan in the future. And what we tell people is, if you don't take any medications, it's worth it just to get one of the least expensive drug plans that are out there. And at least to protect you, because we always need some medications, uh, you know, in in our lives, antibiotics from time to time, so it's always a good idea to have one. I mean, we don't recommend any specific plans. We're objective with the Shine program, and our goal is to educate you to make an informed decision for yourself.
mm. Yeah, that's really, really critical. Um, you know, you had sent in some information to me. One of the questions you had mentioned was, why do Medicare beneficiaries need assistance in the fall? Can we explore that a little bit?
Sure, and a lot of this I've said, I've reached on a little bit of it, which really is that it's important to look at these plans because there might be a lot of money that you can save by changing plans.
Okay, right.
Yes. And so you want to look at the plan that you have now and compare it against the other plans that are out there, because all of the plans are making changes at the same time. So we use this website called Medicare.gov Plan Finder, which is an application on the Medicare website. And that will, you can make your own account with that Medicare.gov website. And when you set up your own account, you can look at all the plans. So say you had a particular plan through SilverScript, which is an Aetna plan, and the plan is $7.40. You put in all of your medications and information, and it compares the plan that you currently have with other plans. And then you can choose which plans you would like to compare. And you can compare up to 3 plans. And usually what people do is they look at the savings that they can have with the medications that they take. And it goes against all of the plans, which right now there are 19 standalone plans.
Wow.
And there are many Medicare Advantage plans. And I understand there are going to be more choices next year. So, you know, we could hear a little bit about them for the fall open enrollment period. But it is fairly confusing, and you really, you can get assistance with trying to figure this out with a Shine counselor. And that's really the goal, is to, you know, make it less confusing, educate seniors and people with disabilities to make sure they have the best plan and that they're aware of the things that they should be looking at. The other thing is that you can get a deeper discount if you use what they call a preferred pharmacy. So many of these plans work with a preferred pharmacy, and you get a little bit of a deeper discount.
Okay, that's interesting. You know, of course, we signed up 5 years ago. So, and you're mentioning the fact that there's 19 different programs out there right now. Do we have the ability to change our plan?
Yes, every year during the annual open enrollment
So
period.
we can actually physically change it to, and so that's where the shopping comes in and really looking at what they're charging. And okay.
Exactly. And it's really important to do that, because your plan can change, and it could, you know, you have to remember that insurance companies know that people don't like to make changes. So, you know, they can change the plan, the price, the covered drugs, the tiered copays, and all of that makes a difference. So if you haven't looked at your plans in 5 years, it would be a really good opportunity to utilize the Medicare.gov website. And you can do it yourself on Medicare.gov. You can also call Medicare. You can meet with a Shine counselor. So there are, you know, a variety of ways to do this. So if you're, you know, savvy on the computer, it's not that complicated. You go to Medicare.gov, and then you create an account, which again is pretty easy to create an account. And I suggest that all the viewers do that if they have the ability, or maybe they already have. We do assist people to create an account, but it's always better if they've already created the account when they see us, because it saves a lot of time.
Right.
So it really can be helpful. But the Medicare.gov site is really helpful in the sense that it can really hone in on your specific medications and your needs and compare the plans against that. And so that's really the ideal piece.
Does Lynn Hill have the ability to help people navigate all these options to look at? So if they, you know, I'm thinking locally, if they have questions or they're struggling with getting online, or, you know, sometimes the older generation is as computer savvy as others. So would Lynn Hill be a perfect person to go talk to help them navigate all these questions that you're pointing out?
Absolutely. And I've been spending a lot of time with Lynn. Lynn is a great Shine counselor.
Okay.
She has really taken a hold of her position, and she's terrific. And she has a great background. She was in HR for the city of Westfield.
Oh,
So
okay.
she's just terrific, and she's very personable, and she's great. So is Tina. What a great senior center that is.
Well, we do love our senior center, that's for sure. That's a great endorsement, both for Tina, who we already know and love, but Lynn, I don't know her personally. I've not met her yet because she's relatively new down there. But that's good for our viewers to know that she is there, ready to go. So if you have questions and concerns about the open enrollment program and you need to really take a look at your Medicare plan and just make sure that what you're signed up for is the best option, then definitely get in touch with Lynn. You've been mentioning, types of changes that people should, they come through. What kinds of changes do you see from year to year that people should be aware of? Is it all
Well,
over
one,
the place?
it's different things. It's different things with different programs. Protocols and procedures change. But one really good thing that I'd like to point out today is that there is a special program for insulin medications. So insulin medications can be really expensive. And when somebody is taking insulin, it could be hundreds of dollars a month for their insulin prescription. And so, what the federal government has done, and this, they had a pilot program for the past few years, but with the Inflation Reduction Act, they have added this year that all diabetic insulin medications will not be more than $35 a month for each one. So that is huge. That's a really big deal. And
Hmm.
it makes it worthwhile to really look at your plans, especially in that manner. So that was a really good thing that happened. So that's one thing. And there have also have been some changes to the initial open enrollment for Medicare and the general open enrollment for Medicare, which we don't need to go into right now. But these changes for certain people are going to make a big difference and allow them to get Medicare sooner. So
Okay.
that's going to be very helpful.
So the fall open enrollment period is October 15th to December 7th. Do I have that correct?
Yes, you do.
Okay. And then, when I was online last night looking at your website, what I realized is that, as it points out, the time that people need to enroll for Medicare when you turn 65, you have a 3 month period before the month that you turn 65 and 3 months following the month that you turn 65. So there's 7 months in total. So does that become your date of enrollment? Does that become your date, or does the date change when you get into this open enrollment period of October 15th to December 7th?
Uh, Good question. And we don't want to confuse the difference between the open enrollment for Medicare Part D, as in drugs, which is the fall open enrollment, and
Okay.
your initial open enrollment
Okay.
period, which
Okay.
is the 7 months around your birthday. But since you brought that up, that is one of the changes that they've started for 2023. Now, it used to be that the first 3 months before your birthday, if you enrolled into Medicare, which you do online on the Social Security website, and if you sign up the 3 months before your birthday, then your Medicare is going to start on your birthday. If you join during that 7 month enrollment period during your birthday month, it's going to start the month after.
Oh, okay.
And then if you join Medicare the month after your birthday date, you used to have to wait 2 months, but now for every month after, it's just the next month the person will have their Medicare. So it's much better in the sense that when you're in your initial enrollment period, if you missed your birthday month or before your birthday, you can still get your Medicare the month after you enroll rather than waiting 2 and 3 months if you enroll after your birthday.
Yeah,
See how
that
convenient
makes
it is? It's crazy.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I think we can safely say, if you're not yet 65, be ready to think about the 3 month period prior to before your birthday hits. Get in, get your enrollment all set and taken care of during that time period, so you're ready to go once you turn 65.
Exactly. And again, to enroll in Medicare, you go to the Social Security office or the
Okay.
Social Security website. And that always, people always wonder, why are we going to Social Security for Medicare? Well, they administer Medicare. And the reason that they administer it, I think, is really because if you're collecting Social Security, your Medicare premium comes out of your Social Security. If
Mm-hmm.
you're not collecting Social Security, then you will be billed quarterly for your Medicare.
Hmm. Okay, that's really interesting. This is a complex topic, boy, and there's a lot of detail around it that people really need to be aware of. That's for sure. Um, and I'm guessing that if people, again, if they need information here in Westfield, they should go to the Westfield Senior Center and talk to Lynn Hill, just make an appointment with her to really navigate this, especially if they're coming up on their 65th birthday. But even so, once they've got their plans set up, they should be talking to Lynn and just be aware of the fact that plans do change and that they need to be looking at um, really evaluating what they currently have to make sure that it's still the right match for them. So changes that take place during the fall open enrollment, they really can change anything um,
This is
within.
the opportunity that they have the time to do it. I mean, you're once you make a change, that change will begin on January 1st. So it will
Okay.
begin the 1st of January. But yes, they can make changes to their premiums, to their drug formularies, which is the list of medications that are covered by the plan. They can make changes to those restrictions I was saying, the prior authorization, um, quantity limits, and step therapy. They can make changes to their preferred pharmacy. They could leave the state of Massachusetts. I mean, and if they
Mm,
leave the state of Massachusetts, then the person's going to go back to original Medicare and they need to make a change. And that's why I really tell people it's very, very important that they read the information they get from their insurance company for their Part D drug plan or their Medicare Advantage plan that covers their Part D drugs when they get that annual notice of change in September and October. So it's really important. And if everything is still covered by your plan, if you're okay with the premium price and everything still looks like it's going to work okay, you don't need to do anything. You can just stay with that plan as long as you've really reviewed the information and you understand the changes that are happening and the changes are not going to make any effect with the drugs that you take, and it's still a good deal for you.
oh,
Otherwise, there could be better deals out there.
right. You mentioned changing states. So is the Medicare specific to the state that you live in, that you're enrolling through?
Yeah, so Medicare A, B, C, and D are all federal original Medicare, or well, A and B are called original Medicare. C are the Medicare Advantage plans, and Part D are the standalone drug plans.
Mm-hmm.
Every state has a different list of Medicare Advantage plans and Part D drug plans. There's
Okay.
regions. So we share our region, I believe, with Vermont um, and Massachusetts, and I think Rhode Island. So those three states are in our region.
Okay.
So our plans are basically all the same, except for the Medicare Advantage plans. They are specific to where you live. And so a plan that if somebody moves here from California, then they would want to know what plans they should be getting into in Massachusetts. Because the prices, the regulations, everything's going to be different.
So that's a great question, and point that you just made there. So if someone's coming from California, let's say they come in June, they need to change their plan. Do they wait for the open enrollment period of October 15th, or can they do it right then?
Yeah, so that would be what we would call a special enrollment period because the person has moved. So that allows them 2 months to make a change to the plan that they currently have to a plan that works for them in the state of Massachusetts. And that is recommended that they do that. And so we have a lot of people that come to us, their family lives here in Massachusetts. They lived in California. As they've gotten older, they've wanted to be closer to their family. They
Right.
moved to Massachusetts. They come see the Shine program, and we review the options that they have in our state. And sometimes it's with the caregivers, their children or friends or neighbors.
So,
So
what about the Snowbirds? The people who basically their residence is here, but they spend 6 months down in Florida for the winter. Is their Medicare program, everything still reverts to what they've enrolled in up here? Is that correct?
it's interesting that you asked that question. It's a great question because when we meet with clients that do go back and forth from different states, there are better plans that work better if you have them. And those are called supplemental plans. And supplemental plans in our state, they're mandated by the division of, excuse me, they're mandated by the Division of Insurance in the state of Massachusetts. And they work with Medicare. So you have original Medicare A and B, which is national. These supplemental plans, what they do is they allow you to get your service from any doctor, anywhere in the United States and even out of the country. So those kinds of plans seem to work better for snowbirds.
Hmm.
So they might want to get an HMO or a PPO because under those plans, emergency services would be covered outside of your service area. But if you had a chronic problem when you were in Florida and you wanted to go to the doctor, a Medigap policy would work best. And we do review that with people. They are a little more costly, but the things that I tell people to really think about when they're thinking about what kind of insurance they want are, how much money do they want to spend on their coverage? What are their medical needs? And then there's always that peace of mind, and if you had all the money in the world, maybe peace of mind would be the way you would go. But if you don't have all the money in the world to pay for insurance, then you're going to want to try to find something that's going to work for you that is not too expensive, but covers your needs.
Okay. Very interesting, but I'm sitting here thinking about the fact that you do have people who go to Florida, they go to Arizona, and so there's a lot of ins and outs on this that people need to be thinking about concerning their health insurance and Medicare if they're going to be moving their lives around. So very, very interesting. So for people who are looking for information, the two things that they really should do, go to medicare.gov online, and there they can find all kinds of, and I was there last night and I found all kinds of information. It's actually pretty easy to navigate around, and they got all these arrows and it takes you to this and gives you all the options that you're looking at.
Yep.
Or if the computer is not something that you're comfortable with, definitely getting to the Westfield Senior Center and making an appointment with Lynn Hill. Those would be the two places for Westfielders to get information and to make sure that they've got all the right details in order to get the right plan lined up for themselves.
Exactly. And, when you get to that Medicare.gov website, the first thing you want to do is create an account. And, you could make a duplicate Medicare card. If you lost your Medicare card, you could request one.
Oh.
Yeah, you could look at what your doctor's bills were if you have original Medicare A and B. So you could look back years to view like surgeries that you've had in the past. You can keep track of your medications that you're taking now. You can add and remove them. You can look at other plans that are available to you. It really is. It's just a great website. It really is. You could pay your Medicare bill if you had to, if you weren't collecting Social Security and you were billed quarterly, you could pay your Medicare bill on that website. So, and it's totally safe, locked. It's got all the privacy. It's been a great website for us. And every year it's getting a little bit better, and every year there are changes. So,
Hmm.
it is a evolving website, just like everything is these days.
Yeah, they get better and better, that's for sure. Well, Lorraine, what haven't we talked about that we should be bringing out, or have we covered most of it?
Well, there's so many things that we could talk more about, but I think, what I really want to focus on with our Medicare beneficiaries in Westfield and the Westfield area is, really review your information that you're getting from the plan. Make sure that that plan is the right plan for you, and explore the Medicare website. Call the Westfield Council on Aging, call us at our regional office. If you think this is really great information, but you have family members that live outside of the state of Massachusetts, there are these programs, the SHIP programs in every state, in every county.
Hmm.
So there are SHIP counselors across the country, and there is help out there. And, it's just a wonderful program. And we have a lot of volunteers. I mean, Lynn is a paid, I think her title, I'm going to say the social service manager, but I'm not sure if that's exactly what it is. But, there's a lot of people out there to help in every state.
Hmm.
And you just have to find that SHIP program in the state that you're looking for. And you can easily do that online. Also, we have our regional office in Greenfield, and people can reach out to us there. And they may have other questions or, complexities. So, but it's a great program. It's a great resource. We're objective. It doesn't cost anything. We're always welcome to take donations because we give more than we have. And it's a perfect program.
Hmm. That's really interesting. And I also want to remind our viewers that if you have an interest in volunteering, this is a complex topic, but we need good volunteers that can really help people navigate the system, to point out the complexities, to help them evaluate what plans they have. If they're interested in being a volunteer and getting involved, and I was on your website and it looked like there's a lot of people that are doing that, they should get in touch with you. Is that correct, Lorraine?
Yes, that's true. And there was one thing that I forgot to mention, and that is that there are programs out there for people that don't have a lot of money that help pay for these Medicare drug plans. So we also screen people for those programs to make sure if you need help that you're getting the help that you need. And there
Okay.
have been some changes in the amount of money that a person can make. It's really increased. So it would be worth it for everyone to relook at those programs.
Yeah, that's great. And Lorraine, how can people get in touch with you if they have an interest in this, in being a...
Sure. So you can reach me at LifePath, which is the uh, aging service access point in Franklin County. And that number is 413 extension 2275. I also have an email address, and it's my name, L York, like New York, hyphen Edberg, EDBERG, at lifepathma.org. And you can reach me either of those ways, and I'll be happy to speak with you about becoming a Shine counselor, which is a very honorable career.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Lorraine York Edberg, who has been our guest today, the Shine Regional Program Director, well, I want to thank you so much for coming on. This is a complex topic, and it's perfect timing with the open enrollment period starting on October 15th, running to December 7th. Are people that are on Medicare, or if you're thinking about starting to get enrolled in Medicare because you're starting to reach that age of 65, you definitely want to make sure that you're up to speed on all the options, changes, cost, and really what the best plan is for you. So definitely encourage people to go online to medicare.gov and create that account and spend some time on that. website so you can get what you need, or contact Len Hill at the Westfield Senior Center, who would be more than happy to help you. And that's one of the major functions of the Senior Centers, to really help people with this topic. So Lorraine, again, I want to thank you so much for coming on. You've done a great job in helping us navigate really a complex topic, and giving us all the ins and the outs of it. I want to give a special thanks to P. Coles, our WCPC Westfield Cable Channel 15 manager and producer, for his help and support to make this program possible. And on behalf of P. Coles and Tina Gorman, I'm Harry Rock, and this has been another edition of the Westfield Council on Aging Presents. Have a great day, everybody.